Welcome to the official Jets podcast. We are presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. We will be joined momentarily, as always, by the Mad Backer, Bart Scott. But we start in the studio with Jets center Connor McGovern, 5-2. Who would have thought before the year? I think you would have thought that, because I look back at a couple quotes from you last December, and you said, this thing is changing. The culture here is flipping. What did you see that maybe people on the outside didn't see?
It starts off with, the guys that Joe Douglas and the Johnsons have brought in. You could tell when guys were buying into what Coach Saleh was preaching. And then it goes to Coach Saleh, who I've always said is a true leader of men. And when you get the locker room to buy into the common goal, to exactly what he's preaching, you can feel the tides start to turn. Every good team I've been on, whether it's, high school, college, NFL, it's when the locker room comes together, starts playing for each other, and everybody starts buying into what the coaches are saying. So I started feeling that. You could see it on the field and how guys were playing. And now we're kind of reaping the benefits of that.
But this is your 6th year in the National Football League. You've never made the postseason before. Have you thought about the potential?
Yeah, it's something. We're still early in the season. There's a long season to go, but it is something that you kind of start letting your mind go. If you're sitting there on the couch one day and thinking about it, you're like, man, we have an opportunity in front of us. So I haven't been in this position but maybe once or twice in my career at week 7 where, have a solid chance at, really getting into the playoffs and making a nice run. So to be in this position, it's special, and definitely don't want to take it for granted.
What was it like for you on the field on Sunday? You guys traveled to Denver without Elijah Moore. Then Breece Hall goes down. Corey Davis is out. Elijah Vera Tucker goes out. Offensively, you guys had to basically tape it together.
Yeah, we were without, some of our biggest playmakers, our best offensive linemen, and, we were able to pull out the win. It's tough to have those guys go down on the field. You hate to see it. It's your brothers in arms, and it's never easy, but it just kind of shows that how this whole team's bought in and how the whole team has that common goal, that no matter whoever's out there, they're willing to do what it takes to win and fight for that common goal.
How did Cedric play?
He played well.
Yeah,
he's a freak athlete. He's a first round pick. He's he's got the length, he's got the speed, he's got the size. He came in and definitely handled it and played definitely good enough to win and a little better than that. So,
have you ever been involved in a situation before where you've had so much line juggling, specifically at the tackle position? If you go all the way back to the spring.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been around this much shuffling. You're always going to have some shuffling, but to have this much from the spring to camp into the early season, because we're still in the first half of the season, it's early. To have this much shuffling, it's a challenge that you don't want to have, but it's kind of what we're dealt with right now, and I have no doubt that whoever's out there playing is going to handle rise to the occasion, and you look at Nate, he's been absolutely playing out of his mind, and Dwayne's out there with a bum shoulder, just playing awesome, and so everybody that's come in has done a really good job. And it kind of goes back to the way this locker room's built, the way guys are buying in, where they're willing to do what it takes.
What do you think about Dwayne's mentality? Like you said, he could have cashed in and said, you know what, I don't feel that good. I get my paycheck, and it just didn't work out here. But he comes back, and he seems like people are gravitating towards him inside the locker room.
100%. I remember the day after he did it, came into the locker room. Or into the training room, I was like, what's the word? What are the docs saying? He's like, oh, they all want me to get surgery. I was like, how many opinions have you got? He's like, like 3 or 4. It's like every one surgery. He's like, yep. I was like, that's season ending. He's like, yep, season ending. And then I just kept seeing him in the training room, no surgery, and all of a sudden he's on the field. And so I don't think people realize when, shoot, more than 9 times out of 10, if 2, 3, 4 doctors tell you to get surgery, the guy gets surgery. So for him to, at that point, not know us very well, not know the team very well, he had just gotten here, really, it's just started to mesh. And for him to be willing to sacrifice like that, it's huge. And it just goes back to the testament of, what guys are willing to do to get this team rolling and get some wins on the board. And it's something that, you see a guy sacrificing like that, it's easy to get behind.
It's interesting because we talked in the spring, and you said after free agency, the early stages, that you thought Joe Douglas should be like the executive of the year already because you liked the group of players he brought in. That was prior to the draft. This draft class has been something else.
I've been telling you, these last 2 draft classes have been, remarkable. And when you hit 2 drafts like that, there's no wonder you're winning a lot. If you can win on draft day and in free agency the way we won, I mean, we went from, one of the youngest, if not the youngest team, to now we're middle of the pack. Then not only are we the middle of the pack on age group, but our young guys are just playing out of their minds. Yeah. So, when you can win free agency and win the draft, and then obviously your head coach is doing a great job, developing guys. This is the kind of the spot you're putting your team in. So they've done a phenomenal job.
Breece Hall had a 62-yard scoring run against the Broncos. He was well on his way to his second consecutive 100-yard effort. 4 consecutive games with a rush touchdown. How bad do you feel for him personally now that he's going to miss the rest of the year? How special of a player is he, and how much are you looking forward to what's ahead for him?
Yeah, he's remarkable. He's an absolute playmaker. A guy where you can see where I think he was a 2-time All-American or whatever it is. So you can see that come through. He's just an absolute ball player. He makes plays happen. And, you feel bad. You feel terrible for him. I talked to him after the game, and I told him, I was like, you're good enough athlete. You'll come back better than ever. I mean, you're going to – he took a lot of hits in college. I think he was Iowa State's the only guy that ever touched the ball at Iowa State. So for him to take that many reps and then come to the NFL, he's going to rehab the knee really well. He's a freak athlete. He's young, healthy. He'll come back fast. He'll be able to rest his body while he's doing it, and next year he'll be even better than he was this year. Can
you talk about the faith and belief that you guys have in the other guys in the backfield, starting, of course, with Michael Carter?
I mean, Michael Carter's a freak too. He's an amazing player. Obviously this year, Breece has kind of gotten a little bit of the spotlight over MC, but now it's MC's time to kind of take that back, and like everyone saw last year, he does really well in the spotlight. So, and then you got Ty Johnson, who I think is a phenomenal running back. He has some unmatched speed, the way he can come out of the backfield and make plays in the pass game as well. We have a really good running backs room, and so it'll be exciting to see those guys get a little bit more opportunity. But MC's the real deal as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Is it weird for you to go back to Denver? You started your career there 3 years. Now it's your 3rd season with the Jets. You did it last year in week 3, so is it old hat by now?
Yeah, so last year is definitely a little bit more weird. This year wasn't. It just kind of felt like another road game where I knew a little bit more people on the sidelines than before. So this year wasn't quite as different, but I will say last year it was a little weird to be back in that stadium on the other side for sure.
Yeah, you had family in attendance, right? Because they're not too far away. Can we talk about where you grew up and how people continue to support you?
Yeah, growing up in far North Dakota. So my parents have been incredibly supportive. My dad's about half retired now, so my parents love to travel, so they enjoy going to the games and coming out here and seeing family on the East Coast, and then going to Denver, seeing some lifelong friends they have in Denver. And my parents have really been supportive my whole career. They came to every home college game, and then my senior year they kind of did the same thing with traveling and kind of seeing. There's so many cool places to visit for the college atmosphere.
Right.
So my parents have really been huge supporters. And then, going back to Green Bay, my wife grew up about 45 minutes south of Green Bay. So we had about 30 family members at the Green Bay game. definitely have the most supportive family on both sides. My family and my wife's family are extremely supportive. So to have about 30 lifelong Green Bay Packers fans all in Jets gear when you're playing the Packers is definitely a testament to their support.
That's awesome. How cool is it when you guys pack up, get on the charter, like that feeling right now? Sauce Gardner after the game said, "Road Warriors, you guys have went into some very good environments and come home with victories. 4-0 on the road so far."
Yeah, we've played in some of the most hostile environments and been coming out victorious, which is nice. Pittsburgh, notoriously top 5 hardest places. Mile High, notorious top 5. And then
you got Cleveland's got a very good fan base.
Cleveland, the dog pound.
Yeah.
Cleveland, and then Lambeau's Lambeau. So I think all we're missing in the top 5 is Seattle, which we have that one at the end of the year, and then Kansas City. So it's been remarkable, and it just kind of goes back to the testament of this team and the resilience that this locker room has, and the way we've bought in. And there's not a Sunday that happens that we didn't think we were going to win. So everybody's confidence is high, and my opinion, confidence is key. If you have to go into every game believing you're going to win, and you can just feel it in the locker room that it's more than a belief. Everybody is extremely confident.
This is your 6th professional season. How important is legacy for you? Because the thing that struck me also about some of your comments last year is you said in 10, 15 years, I want to look back and say, I put in the work and this team eventually got over the hump.
Yeah, it's something that, it would, mean a lot to me. It's something I got to be a part of in high school. It's something that, we kind of got to do in college, had a couple rough seasons when we first got to the SEC, and then we kind of bumped it up, and then to do it here in New York, and the biggest city, one of the best fan bases, to be able to bring that back, it'd be huge, and more than anything, it'd just be fun. It's a place where when the people are behind you, they're incredibly supportive, and to be able to go into this market and this team and start winning. It is special. We're doing it, so it's been a lot of fun.
What's the difference in Zach Wilson in year 2? 4-0 as a starter. Everybody points to the passing statistics, and right now, obviously, you guys are going to need more balance down the line. But you're playing winning football, and you went into a Denver building yesterday. The Broncos were giving up 10 points a game at home. No matter who you lost on the field, I thought there were going to be at times you knew that, hey, listen, we got to be patient. We got to keep on grinding.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to win a football game, and Zach has been playing phenomenal. He's been doing what it takes to win. And he hasn't had to throw for 300 yards to win football games. And I think when people start looking at stats, they're just kind of digging for ways to kind of split the locker room or whatever. As long as the only thing that matters and the one goal that we all have is to win. And if you're winning, you're doing it right. Now there's always things you can do to get better, and you can always improve. But one thing about Zach is he's not worried about his stats. The only stat that Zach cares about is winning, and he knows that the other stuff will come. Our formula right now is kind of wear people down, and then in the fourth quarter score more points than the other team. And a huge part about that is the run game, obviously, but our defense allows us to do that.
Yeah.
Our defense is holding us in every game, so that when we finally have kind of given enough body blows, and the other team's defense starts to kind of give us an inch, and we can take a mile. But without our defense playing the way they're playing, we wouldn't be able to do that. So this formula has been working for us right now. Who knows what it's going to take next Sunday and the Sunday after that. But I have the confidence that Zach has in himself. And the confidence we have in Zach. I have no doubt if there needs to be a game where he has to throw 30, 40 times, I really hope he doesn't, because that makes my life a lot harder. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I have no doubt he can do it, and I know the O-line can hold up and do that as well.
How impressive is it for you guys as a unit, though? That's 3 consecutive games without a turnover. That's pretty rare in the National Football League, that type ball security.
Yeah, it's something that Coach Sala also preaches, and every coach I've ever been around talks about how important the ball is, obviously, and ball security. But to have the guys buy in and do everything they possibly can to make sure that ball stays in our hands, and our defense is doing everything they possibly can to make sure the ball gets back in our hands. That's another good recipe for winning football. If you can be positive in the turnover margin, I don't know, I think the stats are like 60, 70, 80%.
Right.
It just being +1 in the turnover margin to win, let alone +2 or +3, which, I think last week we were only +1, but the weeks before we were +2 or whatever. So the statistics, every turnover you get in the positive, like the percentage-wise it jumps is huge. So
you are a workout fanatic, so do you like the mentality of this team? Like you talked about the body blows. Salah always talks about taking other teams into deep water. Right now it seems like the New York Jets, for 60 minutes, they're going to be standing toe-to-toe in the ring swinging.
Yeah, it's the type of boxing matches I like to watch, and it's so to be able to go out and do the comparable thing in a football game is pretty fun, and it's if I could, any O lineman I think would pick that way to win football games. Just grind it out, make sure that the coaches have trust in the O line that you maybe hit the first couple runs are 1, 2, 3 yards. But just have the trust in us and the confidence in us that we're going to keep going, we're going to keep at it, we're going to keep pounding, and then those 3 runs turn into 6 yards, the 4 yards turn into 10, and so on and so forth. And especially as the Saul always preaches, as the season goes on and the weather gets cold, those body blows hurt even more.
Yeah.
And you see when this staff was in San Francisco, that's kind of what the mentality that they had. I mean, obviously San Francisco is still head coach and same system, but they go in and they go to Lambeau in whatever it was, 19 or 21. I don't remember the year, but they almost rushed for 300 yards in the Green Bay Packers in whatever it was, late December, early January, or mid-January in Lambeau to be able to do that. So, that's kind of the mentality we have and what we want to be able to do. And so
I think old Jets fans are thinking about teams in 09 and 010.
Yeah.
They used to say ground and pound, and then the Jets had an elite defense.
Yeah.
Different teams, different rosters, different players, obviously, but there's similarities there.
Yep, for sure. And then that formula has won a lot of football games for a long time in the NFL. The big flashy, 500 yards of offense wins as well, but this is, the other way to win. And, I think that this fan base kind of would buy in on this kind of way to win. It kind of seems to fit the Jets moniker. So
I love that. How are you going to take in Patriots Bears tonight? Patriots, you guys have at home next week, first time this season. And actually, as far as a 3-game stretch, you got 3 games coming up inside the division, 2 of them against the Patriots.
Yeah, it's huge. These next 3 games are, every game is big. Divisional games are really big, but to have 3 divisional games all back-to-back, that are really going to, affect how this division plays out when it comes to the postseason. I think these are the biggest 3-game stretch we have. So,
wow.
It's big for us, these next 3 games, and so nobody's taking them lightly by any means, and everyone's really excited.
That's something that Sal stressed to you guys throughout the offseason, right? We got to close the gap inside the AFC East. You guys took care of business already against Miami. It's such an interesting spot in the schedule because 3 home games against division teams prior to the bye, and then you see all those guys after the bye on the road.
Yeah. I think, our schedule has been, a lot more favorable this year than it has been in the past. We're not going out west a bunch. We're, we kind of got a couple of home games in a row here and get the divisional teams at home first so we can, try to use that home field advantage and get a leg up. So we have a favorable schedule and we've been capitalizing on it for now, and we just got to keep using it to our advantage and, just keep pounding.
All right, lastly, let's end here. A couple personal notes. the Able Games. How are things going there? And again, give us a refresher, because I think some people are familiar with it, but for those who aren't, I want people to know that what you're doing, what you're involved in, and how many years you've been doing it.
Yeah, so the Able Games is going awesome. The big thing now is kind of what we've morphed the Able Games into, and is now Able, and it's the school curriculum. And we're actually coming out and having a day on November 15th, I believe is the exact date. We're going to try to start bringing it into schools out here. So we're kind of doing a demo at a local high school out here, and it's been going awesome. We have we're adding states every day, and so it's been huge, and the amount of support we've gotten, Able's been just absolutely taken off, and then with that just lays the foundation for the Able Games to be bigger and better than ever. So Able is a school curriculum that goes in. It's a physical education credit towards the high school, and so it'd be like a PE class where a person without special needs and then a student without special needs and a student with special needs partner up, and they do a lot of it's kind of like physical fitness and just getting more than just like playing dodgeball in your class. There's a lot of fun aspects, but it's more of a working out together. And one of the remarkable things I saw is the high school in Moorhead, Minnesota, has been doing this for a while before Able had started. So to see how their students interacted with the special needs students versus a school that had just started this program was remarkable. Yeah. And I think that's an aspect. Not only are we helping people with special needs, get healthier, move around more, learn, be able to be physically fit to do a vocation, you're also it's a two-way street because the ultimate goal is to help people with special needs get into the workforce. So it starts at teaching. In high school, we give them an outlet to go compete with the Able Games, because I'm a big believer in competition. Yep. And then they get to compete, they get to show off their ability, and then they get to train into a vocation. And when you have people that feel extremely comfortable with working with people with special needs and a special needs person, it allows them to have the most success they possibly can in any aspect of life, whether that's a vocation or sports or what have you. So it's a two-way street, because people that don't have a lot of familiarity with working with people with special needs, it can be a little bit stressful. It takes a little bit of a different skill set than something else. So it's something that we hope to build through Able. And then so there's a million things going on right now, but it's all going really, really well.
Well, congrats for getting into the schools, because that is huge. But the Able Games themselves,
yep.
What are they, and when do they happen?
So they happen in the springtime, so that I can be a part of it, and we can get as many football guys there. But it's a physical fitness competition that helps it encompasses every person. It's fully scalable, from somebody that could compete in the CrossFit Games to somebody that is bound to a wheelchair, where you're able to scale every workout, and that the trainers there and the people that write the programs, it's remarkable how well they can tie in. And on the same floor, you see somebody that's could be a CrossFit Games competitor walking doing handstand walks, and then on the other end of the floor, there's somebody in a wheelchair throwing a med ball, and then going after it, throwing the med ball, and doing the same length, but they're matching what muscles they are using. It's using their shoulders and their arms to throw the med ball, just like the person that's doing the handstand walk is using to do the handstand walk. So to see the Able Games, and hopefully we can have an event out here eventually. Right now there's only one in North Dakota, but it's growing. I think where Able spreads into the schools, Able Games will come. Yep. And it's truly life-changing to see, and then to see the smiles on everybody's faces, and the camaraderie, and the people cheering everybody on. And there's somebody that just gave everything they had on a deadlift workout, but they crawl their way down the floor to go cheer that last person on as they finish their workout. It's something really special, and hope to bring to everybody.
That is awesome. You are a gym rat. You've always been
I do love it.
You've always been a gym rat. As far as the CrossFit is concerned, How have you been able to keep weight on? Because a lot of people CrossFit, they're jacked up, but they don't have the mass because with CrossFit, you have so many workouts and a lot of it is fast and explosive, right?
Yeah, so I definitely modify a lot of it and kind of tweak it to what an O-line does, a low lineman does. We have such a weird job. It's, a wide out, they run a lot. They're still running. And, for us, it's, it's kind of like you're doing a 3-second burst of pushing a car or something. So it's hard to train for and going out, and you obviously need a good cardiovascular base, but just going out and running, you're using different energy systems and stuff. So CrossFit, I kind of found in that kind of realm ways to more mimic, what we do every day as an offensive lineman. And then, so stay strong in that way, but also train that, I do a lot of like repetitions of something that takes like 3 to 6 seconds and just do a lot of them with like a 45-second break. And so I really enjoy it. It's been fun trying to tweak. I've been really blessed to be around a lot of amazing strength and conditioning coaches, and to be able to tweak everything that I've learned in all the newspaper or magazine articles and internet articles now that I've read, and kind of try to make it my own is really fun, and I really enjoy that.
Well, you're a freak, so if anybody sees you at the gym, they can be like, "Oh my God, that dude over there." So let's end here with a little fun. All-time top bench.
My all-time top bench is only 495 because I was going for the school record. Me and Mitch Morris were going head-to-head for the school record.
Buffalo Bills Center
going head-to-head for the record of we're going to try to both hit 520 because the record, or maybe it was 525, the record was 520, or we're going for 520 and the record was 515. And at 495, I had torn my pec, and so we both had to shut it down. So Mitch blames me for not having the school bench record.
And I think I've asked you that before. Obviously, he doesn't do that anymore.
No.
Way back in the day,
yeah, back in the day, we were going head to head. So the best I've ever hit was I hit 495 one other time. So
how about squat?
My single best squat was a 720. But like for the numbers thing, the best squat I ever hit, which is a school record at Mizzou, I did 690 for 5.
You got that on video?
Yeah, somewhere. It's an old video. Bad, before camera phones are really good. It's grainy and everyone's yelling. You can barely see what's going on. But
what about deadlift?
My best deadlift is I think I pulled a 750 one time, or 740, somewhere in there.
Damn. So at the end of the day, when you're not playing anymore, you can be crushing in the gym still?
Yeah, I think I will. We're the house we're building right now back in North Dakota. We have a big gym set up. My wife is also way into physical fitness. She was when we were in Denver. She was a fitness instructor at 3 different places. So she's way into it. I know when life kind of slows down a little bit, she wants to get back into instructing stuff. So
who's designing the gym, you or her?
So it's attached to the garage, and so there's 2 floors. So the bottom floor is mine, and then the top floor is hers. So
that's pretty sweet.
Yep. And so yep.
We're gonna have to come out there and do a feature.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun when it's done. It'll be really fun.
Connor, great catching up as always, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Get in on all your favorite teams, players, and sports. From boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, they have what you need to win. Jets fans in New Jersey, sign up today and use promo code XJETS. And after placing your first $100 wager, you will receive $100 to bet with. You will receive a $50 free bet and a $50 casino bonus. Again, the promo code is XJETS. Offer subject to change. Offer only available in New Jersey. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 or older to participate. Please visit wynnbet.com to view welcome offers available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia.
You're watching the official Jets podcast. We are presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. As I mentioned at the top of the pod, we are now joined by Bart Scott. In fact, this is the second time we're taping this because the New York Jets went out and made a trade Monday night. What did you think about the acquisition by Joe Douglas getting Jacksonville Jaguars back James Robinson?
I think it's a symbol to the locker room that we're trying to win now. And, we understand that this is a season where we can, maybe make some noise and compete for the playoffs. And it'd be great for a young group to go in a wide open, not only just AFC, but wide open NFL altogether. And bringing a guy like James Robinson, who's only 24, 25 years old, I believe, means that you're getting a good player, a proven player, a Pro Bowl player, or not a Pro Bowl player, a Rookie of the Year player. And, he replaces not the speed of Breece Hall, but the physicality, being 5'9", 220 pounds. He's a guy that, that can move the sticks. Michael Carter is a lighter back, a smaller back. This gives you kind of that thunder and lightning type of dynamic. And, of course, moving Ty Johnson into there, we know that he's a guy that can play at a high level. So, I think it's a win-win. Cam Akers is, to me, pretty much almost like Michael Carter. And Kareem Hunt probably would have cost you a boatload, and Cleveland's still holding on to hope. I believe that they can still make a run if they stay close enough with Deshaun Watson coming off, of suspension the 11th week.
How do you think this is going to develop over time, what you have in the backfield with Carter, with Robinson, with Ty Johnson? Breece Hall, he's spectacular, of course, of late. They had the 62-yard touchdown run against the Broncos, the Jets' only touchdown in that game. He's had 4 consecutive games with rush touchdowns, such a threat out of the backfield as a receiver. And also, he gives you that dimension of being a home run hitter. Now, what is that backfield going to look like in terms of distribution in your eyes, Bart?
I think you always have to keep Michael Carter hits down. We know that he's had a history of concussions, and you don't want to overexpose him that way as well. I think Ty Johnson, it means that you have to keep 3 running backs up lively. I don't know if Robinson has any experience in really playing special teams, but if he was coming in as an undrafted free agent, I'm assuming that he played forms of special teams. Want to be able to get players that can do multiple things to help you in different areas. Who knows if he can return kickoffs or anything like that as well. You want to try and just get all the talent that he has and put him in positions to be successful. I know that Ty Johnson can catch the ball fluidly. I know Michael Carter can. I'm not sure if Robinson is a natural catcher of the ball. But that was a huge part of what Breece did, being able to, win the one-on-one matchups with linebackers and safeties. His presence will be missed in the passing game just as much as it is in the running game.
What does that offense have to do moving forward? Not only this week against the Patriots, buddy, but over the course of these final 10 games, because you could make an argument that these were the 2 best offensive players the Jets had on the roster in Breece Hall and then Elijah Vera-Tucker, who's done everything for this team along that offensive line here in the 5-2 start.
Well, for me, like I say all the time, sometimes it's better to have a bunch of good players than a few great players, because you talk about the depth, and everybody in the NFL, depth is going to be tested at some point this year. And, because the Jets have a bunch of good players, I think they'll be able to withstand, because, you lose a Vera-Tucker, and it's tough. But he was filling in for George Fant, who may be returning, sometime soon. We'll see after the bye week. But, he should be getting closer. He didn't have a season-ending injury. And then Max Mitchell. So you still have an opportunity to have good pieces. You can't replace Vera-Tucker, but, Fant and Max Mitchell would be still a substantial increase in what the Jets have, maybe going this week against the Patriots. Just having experience and having, guys that were filling in to go back to their natural roles and be swing guys. That's the beauty of being able to have versatility and players that can play on the inside, play on the outside, whether it's receiver, running back, safety, linebacker. It's important, because this game nowadays is about who can last the longest with the best quality pieces and be able to try and win.
What's next for Zach Wilson? 4-0 as a starter. Robert Saleh being asked this week if he's concerned about the pass game. The Jets, I should say, have faced the NFL's two top pass defenses over the last 2 weeks in the Green Bay Packers and the Denver Broncos. So we have to take that into consideration. And there's that element of the ground and pound working for this team that has great defense paired with excellent special teams right now.
I mean, listen, they found a formula, but I think you're going to ask Zach Wilson to do a little bit more now, right? Because you can't just say, hey, we're going to get 150 yards, 120 yards, from Brees in big plays, right? So now you may have to ground and pound it. I remember in this town, it's a team that had 3 good running backs, and they used it to wear their opponent's defense down. They were consistent with running the ball. When you think about, Brandon Jacobs, I believe Ward and Bradshaw. I mean, I think they have that dynamic. They have 2 big bruising backs, Ty Johnson, Robinson, and now, Michael Carter. You just try and break them down and, see what if Zach can make plays behind. And I think Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore and Mims, everybody kind of steps up, and everybody's going to get more of an opportunity to get touches. So if you're complaining about touches or you weren't satisfied with the touches you were getting, well, those, 18 or 19 touches are not available. Who's going to step up, from a playmaking standpoint and say, hey, give those to me. I can do something with those.
This is the first time since 2001, 21 years that the Jets have a 2-game lead in the division over the New England Patriots. Yes, the Jets aren't in first place in the division, but with that being said, they're going to face a Patriots team that is 3-4, and you have an opportunity ahead of you Sunday at MetLife Stadium to increase that gap even to 3 games, Bart. What do you think about the situation, the dynamic with the Jets and the Patriots right now?
I mean, the game plan is really, right, this is a team that's had your number, and they're rebuilding. They're trying to figure out who they're going to be going forward after they lost, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. So you want to put all that pressure on them that they put on you for over the years, and you want to try and make sure that you can go up by 3 games. And then when you see them in a couple of weeks, you go up by 4 games. And then that's one less thing you have to worry about. You bury them, right? And you make sure that, hey, man, like all the teams that were beating us, 0-12 in the division the last couple of years, or 0-6, you take care of business, and you inflict that pain and that disappointment that they inflicted on you for the last couple of seasons. And that's about maturity, right? You can't go in there emotional. You got to go in there to get the job done. And you understand that it's a doable, and it's a task that is doable. You saw yesterday, the Chicago Bears, who is a team that's on a rebuild, come up and take advantage and punch this team in the mouth. So now you understand that it's going to be a little bit more personal because it's a rivalry game. This is a divisional game. They know you, you know them. But reintroduce yourself to them, because they may think that you're a certain way and that things are still copacetic, that they have your number. Show them that you think different.
Can that have a lasting impact, the way they lost on Monday Night Football? 33-14. A lot of people would say that game wasn't as close as the score would indicate. The Bears had an opportunity to put in a touchdown at the end, and they kneeled the ball down. The reason why I ask you that is because it's interesting. Last year in New England, the Patriots hung 50-plus on the Jets. The tide is totally turned when you're looking at these teams.
Yeah, if I'm the Jets, I'm trying to inflict that pain, and if I have an opportunity to run the score up, I'm gonna run the score up, right? Like I said, it's no sportsmanship among rivals. Like, they hate you, you hate them. When they're up, they take advantage. When you're up, you take advantage. Make them feel some of that pain. Use that as motivation, how they embarrassed you last year, and make sure that they feel embarrassed. But more than that, make sure that you walk out with the victory, right? Because that's the best way to kind of serve that revenge. It's cold. If you can put up 50, you put up 50. But if you can win 3-0, that's 3-0. You do what you have to do. And I'm going to put the challenge on the defensive line to step up, because last week it was the defensive backs that stepped up and really carried the water, so to speak. So it's time for this D-line to step up and have a great game, and a quarterback that's mobile but not Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts type of mobile. You should be able to get to him and win at the line of scrimmage. Look at Troy Brown. He struggled yesterday. You try and make sure that he doesn't get right, because the practice is going to be tough for them on a short week, but it's going to be tough for them because you're looking at, Bill Belichick being embarrassed, guys getting called out in film study. They're going to come out there. You're going to get their best effort because they were embarrassed in front of national television, and they're going to try and come back and get retribution, and really against a team that people think are the darling, good story to have in the Jets.
What's the biggest surprise in the NFL right now? You got the New York teams who have combined, I believe, with an 11-3 record. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady struggling to put any kind of points on the board. You have Aaron Rodgers under 500, and they're facing the Buffalo Bills this week. When you look at you got the Patriots who are 3-4. Biggest surprise in the NFL right now?
I mean, the biggest surprise to me is Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks are first in the division. Kenneth Walker, somebody who I'm very familiar with, got a late start, but, he was going to push Brees, for Rookie of the Year anyway. He's a dynamic back. They were 1-2 in the draft, 1-2 in the Big Ten. And he's playing at a high level, 168 yards. Geno Smith is one of the most accurate quarterbacks, QBR rating, top 5, I believe. And we thought this was a rebuild year where maybe Seattle was going to play for a future quarterbacking and high draft pick. But it looks to me like they're right where they need to be. And it's crazy the fact that maybe Seattle's pick is going to be lower than the one that they're going to get from Denver. The one from Denver may be the one that allows them to get a quarterback if they want or get a premium player. That can be a top 5 pick. And their pick may be a top 15 pick or 20.
That would be crazy. And the Jets do meet the Seahawks out in the Pacific Northwest week 17. And both those teams could figure into the playoff picture. I don't think a lot of people thought that before the season. Final thought here. DeBrickashaw Ferguson entering the Ring of Honor Sunday at MetLife Stadium. A former teammate of yours, a kid who grew up in Freeport on Long Island. I think he missed one snap due to a trick play throughout his career. The anchor at left tackle for 10 seasons for this team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Iron Man and class personified. I think he's very deserving. I'm happy for him. I wish I could be there, but unfortunately I'm going to be covering the game, but I'll be there in spirit. One of the best teammates I've ever been around, not only a champion on the field, but off the field, and what he did around his neighborhood in Covenant House, to really attack teenage homelessness. I was part of, his work sometimes within the community. Couldn't be more proud of him and happy that he gets his award and he gets to get his flowers.
All right, brother. You remain a champion in our eyes as well. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate it.